Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith. Today I am talking about The Perfectly Fine House by Stephen Kozeniewski and Wile E. Young, and from Grindhouse, a great publisher. So in The Perfectly Fine House, we have a world where ghosts are everywhere. Ghosts of people, ghosts of animals. That's all there is, basically. Um, but they're everywhere. They're part of the world. But when a young lady, Donna Fitzpatrick, needs a little break from work, she gets basically kind of an Airbnb kind of thing going on. Her brother, Kyle, rents her a place where there are no ghosts. What the hell's going on? There are ghosts everywhere. Ghosts are all over. Ghosts from all of time. How does this house have no ghosts? And why is it making ghosts that get close to it? Why is it freaking them out? What's going on in the perfectly fine house? That's not the greatest nutshell, but I don't want to give too much away. So, first of all, I've had this book for a little while. The reason I read it now is because there is an anthology coming out called The Perfectly Fine Neighborhood. And by the time this video airs, the book, The Perfectly Fine Neighborhood, might be out. It was on Kickstarter. It funded. Recently, there was a live video event where they announced the table of contents and had a bunch of the authors, not all, but a bunch of the authors that contributed to the anthology on to talk about their stories and stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was great. But in anticipation of that, I thought it's finally time to read about The Perfectly Fine House. And Kozeniewski and Young seem to enjoy writing together. They did Clickers Never Die. I read it. I reviewed it. It's the Clickers World War II story. Anyway, they wrote that together. I feel like they've done other stuff together. Maybe. Can't think of it off the top of my head. Either way. So they work well together. And as I said, we have Donna Fitzpatrick, and she works in I forget what the business is called, but basically, when you have a couple where one of the people is a ghost and one of the people is alive, sometimes they want to have physical relations. And so Donna has this business where she finds a surrogate that the ghost can possess for a short time to have those relations with their living partner. That's what she does for a living. And this sort of brings me very quickly, apparently, to one of the best parts of this book, which is the world building. The rules of a world in which ghosts are everywhere. Everyone and everything that has died becomes a ghost. And so it is a very different world than the one that we live in. I don't want to give away like all the little cool little things that you're going to find. But I really I like the characters. I like the story, which we'll get to in a second. But the world building, I think, is tremendous. It's not this isn't some exhaustive Lord of the Rings made up languages and all of this sort of thing, because it is the world. It's just actually quite different because of the existence of ghosts. And as I said, I think they do a good job. I didn't happen to notice any contradictions in their rules or anything, which is always nice, especially when world building. Sometimes people sort of build this part of the world, but then this part of the world contradicts what that part of the world said. Didn't notice any of that. But then the story, again, we have Donna. She's got her business, but she's super stressed out. Her brother Kyle is a ghost, and it's sort of through him we learn a lot of these ghost rules, but also through Donna and the other characters. I'll throw this one out there. the sheriff of their town is a ghost. And basically, it's because the majority of the population is ghosts. They voted that ghost sheriff into office, which makes sense. There's going to be more ghosts than living people. Excuse me. So, yeah, so then Donna goes to this house, and there is a cold open with this house. We don't need to get into that. So, Donna, stressed out at work, her brother tells her, you need some time off. She goes to this house, and not only are there no ghosts, not even cockroach ghosts or anything, but whenever her brother or another ghost starts to approach the house, they freak out. Something is going on. And then ghosts start disappearing. Should I have checked the back of the book to make sure? It says soon ghosts go missing. So there you go. I haven't given anything away that's not given away on the back of the book. So it's this sort of supernatural mystery that we've got going on in this wonderfully built world of ghosts and humans. And I mean, there's so many little details I want to talk about, but I think you should read this book, discover them for yourselves. I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I really, really liked this. I'm very much looking forward to the anthology the anthology book. It'd be great if it was a series, especially after watching that live video and hearing about some of the stories that are going to be set in this world. It's a fascinating world. It'll be nice to explore it a little more, and I believe Stephen Kozeniewski has a story in it. Wile E. Young has a story in it, and then a bunch of Jeff Strand. But I'm not here to talk about that book. I'm here to talk about this book. 4 out of 5. I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Support Stephen Kozeniewski and Wile E. Young. Support Grindhouse. And when The Perfectly Fine Neighborhood comes out, I'm definitely going to get it and read it and review it. But before then, read this. Good stuff. The Perfectly Fine House. All right. That's it. This is kind of a short one. There's a lot of things I could talk about, but I don't want to because I feel it'll give away the enjoyment, the fun of reading this book. So, do I have a question for this video? Yeah. Would you have any problem living with ghosts in your house? And I'm not talking about, spooky, haunty ghosts, although technically I guess they are haunty, and spooky is relative. But essentially in this world, like in Donna's apartment, there's a ghost that lives there. She just lives with this ghost. The ghost doesn't bug her, but they'll talk, and ghosts do. There's a lot of stuff going into what the ghosts can do, but they can, like if they concentrate, they can move stuff, touch stuff. They can poltergeist, but they can also. There's some bad things that can happen with ghosts. So there are people who are exorcists, but. So if it weren't like a weird haunting, but just a previous tenant who died, but was, a good conversationalist or whatever, would you have a problem living with, we'll limit it to one ghost in your house? As for me, I've never thought about it, but I suppose as long as they don't bug me, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'll leave them to their devices. They can leave me to mine. Maybe occasionally we bump into, not physically, but bump into each other in the hall and have a conversation. I don't think it would bother me too much as long as they're not in the way. Simplest answer. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is at Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am at EL Smith. That's all I have. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.